Welcome to On the Corner of Main Street, presented by Plaza Hotel and Casino in downtown Las Vegas. Here is Plaza CEO Jonathan Jossel, Gary Vickery, and I'm your host, Lisa Melmed. Yo 11. Welcome back to On the Corner of Main Street.
You got a lot of Yo 11s. That was quite the code word.
Yeah, thank you all. Everyone's like, I don't really know what this means, but Yo 11. Or they do know exactly what it means, and they're like, Yo 11.
People missed us.
The ones that know what it means are the people I want to have around you, because that means they gamble. Yeah. They're my kind of people.
They're your kind of people.
Yeah.
So thank you, everybody, for listening, for your feedback, for reaching out. It's awesome.
Yes, it is. It's good to be back.
Good to be back. Gary, how do you feel?
I'm excited. I'm ready for the next 60 episodes.
It's pretty, and it's nice that we're in Oscars. It's busy. It's Wednesday. We're open. Is it Wednesday?
It's Wednesday.
It is Wednesday. Jeez, it's busy. Oscars is fun, and our guest is a real character. He's become a good friend of mine over the last couple of years. Really admire the guy. Love his energy. And we've never had anyone from slot side of the business. Yeah. You know, we always come from the operations side, or non-gaming for that matter, but you know, he's on the slot side, and it's very interesting to hear his perspective and, you know, where the industry's headed, the things that are happening. I hope we'll get into that, because I think to the average person, when I bring people into the casino, they're like, how do you know what machine to play? How do you know the difference between each machine? Why am I playing 88 Fortunes versus Dollar Storm versus Locket Link versus Top Dollar? Why do people gravitate a certain way? So I think we should have more people from the slot side on the business.
I agree, 100%.
Absolutely.
Did you have a fun week, guys?
This week, something amazing has happened. For the first time ever in the last 7 years that I've been in Las Vegas, I went to the Sand Dollar with Jonathan Jossel.
I thought you were going to say something exciting.
That is exciting.
Well, we love the Sand Dollar, obviously, because we're opening up one downtown, the Dollar Downtown. Right. We are scheduled to open hopefully in January. And I wanted to go and see it busy, and the night we chose was quite the scene, Lisa. Pauly Shore and the Crusties.
Pauly Shore and the Crusties.
Pauly Shore and the Crusties. And Crusties is the name of his band, Gary, for those that don't know. And Pauly performed a wide variety of 70s, 80s, and 90s music, which is his era, including Rocket Man. It was quite the scene. But he had a good crowd. He had a great crowd. A lot of younger people. What did you think of his musical talents?
I loved it. I forgot I owe you a coffee because you bet me on what song was.
Well, because I saw the playlist.
Yeah. Never bet against Jonathan.
Never bet against the house. Yeah.
Never bet against the house.
But Pauly Shore and the Crusties, grand opening, Sand Dollar. Let us know what you think if you would come and see Pauly Shore and the Crusties at the grand opening weekend of Sand Dollar, along with some other live entertainment. Gary's stunned.
Gary's in.
I wasn't here for that, but no, that's.
Are you saying you're staying quiet because you know you'll be running the front desk that night? You won't be able to be there anyway.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I'll be running the front desk this weekend because EDC is pretty much in full swing. Everybody's starting to arrive right now, so it's getting wild.
It's crazy that it's back. What a great weekend. Imagine having EDC and a Raiders game on the same weekend. Let me ask you a question as an Eagles fan. Is there a lot of similarities between the Eagles football fan and a EDC goer?
Gary will be at EDC.
I will not be at EDC, but I will be at the Eagles game. No, there's no similarities. There's definitely no similarities.
No face jam?
No.
Face paint?
Some face paint, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Gary, let's jump into today's guest because I think it's going to be a good one. Today we are joined by the CEO of American Gaming System, better known as AGS, and the 2019 Global Gaming Award winner of the American Executive of the Year, David Lopez. Welcome to On the Corner of Main Street.
That's pretty cool. I forgot about that award.
Which award was that?
I don't know.
Well, welcome to Oscars. Good to have you downtown.
It's been a long time.
Saturday night.
It's been at least a few days.
2 days since you were eating here. How was everything?
It was great, as always.
I appreciate you coming down here. I feel like you only just discovered downtown.
What time's the restaurant open today?
In about 45 minutes.
45 minutes. I get something to go for my kid when I leave.
You going to take the chicken?
I might take the chicken for me, and I'll go get a pizza for him.
Yeah. Oh, do you want a pizza? We'll get you a pizza to go.
Yep.
We can make that happen. But we appreciate you joining us. I met David probably like a year ago, maybe a little more than a year ago, also downtown.
We had masks on.
Well, did we? At a coffee shop?
Close to it, yeah.
All the greatest people I've met in Vegas have come from that coffee shop.
It's one of the best.
Publicus?
Yeah, can we say that online? Can we promote coffee shops?
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, Publicus is probably the best coffee in town. I don't know.
Might be some of the best coffee in the country.
Yeah. He hasn't taken me up on my offer, though. I've offered to be like his coffee connoisseur guy that makes new drinks, and he's not down with it yet.
You know why?
You know what I do? I know this isn't gaming, but I'm going to tell you what it is. So I take Perrier, but lemon Perrier. I take a double shot of espresso and a little bit of agave, and I do the espresso and the agave together. I mix it up, and then I pour the lemon Perrier in. And if you know, listen, if you like Perrier and you like coffee,
I like those two things a lot. I got to try this.
Get some coffee soda.
Okay.
Chemo hasn't adopted it yet, but that's fine.
For anyone that doesn't
we'll
know,
get him there.
Chemo's
the CFO of AGS, and he's also the owner of Publicus downtown.
Okay, which is the best coffee.
Check him out. Check him out. This is going to give me free waffles, I hope.
Do you have a name for this drink so we could have it down at the coffee bars in case people listen? They can come over.
It's not there yet.
I'll want it. Our coffee.
It's just my coffee soda. It's Lopez's coffee soda. There's nothing else.
The Lopez soda.
Yeah, we'll work on that guy down there.
Anyway, well, it was good to have you down here Saturday night. Thanks for hanging out down here, bringing your friends.
Thank you, because there were no reservations available as always, and you managed to squeeze me in.
Well, that's the new steakhouse downtown. It's been here 10 years, and all of a sudden it's a big hit.
It's awesome.
Coming up on 10 years.
Overnight hit in 10 years. That's pretty cool.
That's right. So you were saying before and we're going to jump into this, I'm sure, in a second, but you were saying you want another podcast called
Max Bet.
Max Bet.
Yep.
I got to get on that podcast.
Yeah, well, no, you haven't been on it.
No.
This is shocking.
Invited. Really?
This is shocking because you'll probably be the most interesting one on the podcast so far. So
never been invited. You have to tell me. But they used to work for you?
Yeah, but you have a cool accent, so there's few cool accents that end up on a podcast.
So you're the CEO of AGS.
So far, yeah.
What is AGS?
So AGS is gaming supplier. We have product right here on site. We can go play it afterwards. So we have slots, table games, we have shufflers, and an online presence both in social and real money gaming. Keep it pretty simple. Supply to any legal casino around the world. We're mostly North America, meaning Canada, U.S., and Mexico, and a little bit in Latin America. And I imagine over the next few years we'll be elsewhere too.
Poland?
Poland's a goal.
How long have you been the CEO there?
Oh, God, I don't know. I started February 2014-ish, I think.
Okay. Well, it's cool because we've, I think, done 60 episodes of this podcast, and we haven't had any gaming manufacturers on the podcast. So you are the first one.
I am honored, sir.
I think so. I hope you bring a good name to that industry.
We're going to give it a go.
And I assume, historically at least, it was G2E. Have you recovered from it? Was it a success?
G2E.
The Gaming Expo.
Yes, Global Gaming Expo 2021, which was non-existent in 2020.
Correct.
Due to this COVID-19 thing.
Yeah.
And so I actually thought that this year's G2E, the first day, which would be Tuesday of the actual show, was excellent. It was probably the best one ever. Attendance lower. But everyone that walked in was someone like yourself, a decision maker, someone that comes in and is really looking at product, prepared to make decisions. There wasn't, let's say, folks that just are stopping by. So it was real deal executives coming through, and it was high quality event. So it was good.
Did you make any decisions then and there, Jonathan?
Yeah, we are getting Monkey Pirate.
That's my favorite. Look at this. Must have done some homework.
Is it because
he did some homework? That's my favorite game.
It at G2E?
What is the actual theme?
I don't know. It's called something else. It's called Captain Riches, but who calls it that when you can call it Monkey Pirate?
we like Monkey Pirate. We like Rake and Bacon. Monkey Pirate, also known as Captain Riches.
Captain Riches, crushing it. So. But we're not here to promote.
No,
we're here to
and
talk
we have some
about
of
you guys
stuff
and what's going on downtown.
We have some of their stuff that's already very, very good.
Is there pickleball on the roof here?
There is.
There is.
We're playing later on. They're not here, but we're playing later on.
It's not on the roof here?
There is. There's 14 courts on the roof.
We got to check that out.
You should come play it.
I want to see.
Are you a big pickleball player?
No, but I have a feeling I could compete if you put Jonathan and myself on the team.
I don't.
Ooh.
Oh,
we could probably crush them.
Yeah,
folks.
we'd be a good.
Yeah, yeah.
We'd be a good team. No.
But if you get
I have great lateral movement. I have great lateral movement. Right. That's key.
That's your.
I'm not so good straight. Going straight.
Okay.
Not a north-south runner. I'm not Derrick Henry.
I get it. Derrick Henry's a good north.
Okay, so how did you end up over at?
Oh yeah, that's right. That thing. So
where were you from?
Do you want me to give you some boring history?
Yes.
Yes.
So I'm from New York, Troy, New York, also known as the armpit of the state. Jonathan's face. So I grew up there, went to high school there, the whole 9 yards. I think 93, I went off to basic training in Fort Benning, Georgia. Got out of that, went back home because it was National Guard, and I got home and I said, oh my God, what am I doing here? There's nothing going on here, and I moved to Vegas. My sister was in Vegas.
On your own.
Huh? My sister was here.
Okay.
So, I had a little bit of cover fire, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't going to implode coming.
Okay.
Although my mother.
What year is this?
My mother thought I was going to. That was probably late 93. So I was basic training January 93.
Okay.
And I was probably out here. As a matter of fact, I know when I was out here because I missed the racing season at Saratoga, which is the August place to be. So I must have left August 1st.
Okay.
Because I was really, upset that I missed the racing season. So I came out here and did some school, did the National Guard out here, started working, sweeping floors kind of thing at MGM over in the retail warehouse.
Okay.
Yep. Fun times.
Wow.
And then. So I was there. I moved
not
into
the MGM
accounting.
that's there now because that wasn't built yet.
Oh man, that's the MGM. That's the same MGM.
The one on Tropicana was there in 93.
93, yeah. It opened in 94, but it actually opened December of 93.
Got it.
So I started there, did some accounting stuff. I found out that accounting was not for me. And so I moved on to the where'd I go? I went to the Stratosphere.
Oh.
And I just face-to-face stuff, just working Tower Ops show, Danny Gann show stuff. I wasn't in the show, but we were selling tickets to it. And
Okay.
And a good guy over there, the VP of marketing, was Tom Willer, and he sent me no, he didn't send me a text those days. We didn't even have that. He paged me.
Mm-hmm. Like a code.
Hey, no, he paged me on my beeper.
Okay.
And we're talking rap song beeper.
Yeah, no, I know exactly.
And so he beat me, and I called him back, and he said, go put in a resume at this place called Shuffle Master. I said, huh?
But hold on, you went to UNLV before that?
Yeah, I'm a rebel.
Okay.
That's going on throughout all this thing. No, I went to UNLV from 93 to 2000, and that's a bachelor's degree.
Okay.
Check your math on that.
Yeah.
So this is all while you're in school at the time?
This is all while I'm in school.
Okay.
I mean, something like in school. I graduated with a 2.78, so I thought 3.0 was the highest, so I thought I was doing great. Recently, people broke the news to me that that's not the case.
I don't even know what you're talking about because I don't know the American schooling system.
Yeah, right.
2.78 sounds great.
It sounds great.
I like that. So, Stratosphere, Tom Willer sends me to Shuffle Master. I had no option. He made me apply. Got hired there as an analyst. And I think I had 16 jobs in 14 years. I left as a board member somehow. And COO, yeah.
You were there 16 years at Shaw.
14 years. 14 years.
Okay.
It's more than 14 jobs, though. We counted
that's
them.
what you said, okay.
Yeah, and but I left as COO and member of the board, and went after that. I went to become CEO at Global Cash Access, which is now Every.
Which I think is
AKA.
AKA?
Every, yep.
Oh, okay. But it isn't something that, GCA, nobody knows what that is or what it stands for, but it affects every person that comes to Vegas because pretty much everything you're putting your card into or taking a ticket out of, almost all of those comes from GCA.
So Global Cash Access those are the folks that just put the money in your casino. So when folks come in here, and we're not at cashless yet, right?
Yep.
But when people walk in a casino, I think it's something like 85% of the cash that goes through your machines or gets dropped in the drop box on a table game comes out of a cash machine or cash advance or something of the like.
Is that a real statistic?
It's a real statistic. You could check it. I'm probably wrong.
80%?
Yeah. Listen, it's somewhere 80 to 90%.
Wow.
People don't walk in with
They're not
wads of
coming with no
cash.
cash.
I mean, it's just not the smartest thing in the world to do.
Right.
But there's folks out there that do it, but it's probably north of 80%.
It makes sense. I mean, I'm always amazed how much money comes out of the ATMs.
Yeah. You guys make a little bit of money on it.
It never used to be something I paid much attention to, but I have discovered it's an interesting side business.
Yeah, it's an interesting.
And I'm sure Every does very well with it because they have ours.
Every does fantastic. As I like to say, it's the cash business is a wonderful cash business. It generates a lot of cash because low capex. That's boring stuff.
Right. But you're talking about the actual, because like you have the Tito machines and then you have the cash machines where some places do them separately, some places it's all one device. But you are at GCA who puts the money in those devices.
That's right. But GCA owns the redemption machines. You walk up with a Tito ticket,
right,
and you get cash out, or at that same machine now to get your cash. And if you're just walking up and you have nothing but a credit card or a debit card, you go get your cash that way. So I ran that company for a little under 2 years, met some awesome people over there, and then was recruited by Apollo. Mm-hmm. The evil empire of Apollo and David Samba.
Was it David Samba?
David Samba.
I never heard it. I never knew him, but I read a book that Kimo actually told me to read.
Yes.
Something about Caesars.
Yeah, it's the Caesar's coup.
The Caesar's coup.
And if you read that book, he's Darth Vader.
Right.
But that's not the guy I know.
I will tell you that for anyone listening, Caesar's coup is a fascinating story of Vegas.
If
it's
Vegas,
accurate.
If you're from Vegas and you've got to be in the industry.
Yeah.
But everything you read in that book, it's very interesting. I read the book, and although I would wager that most of it's true,
yeah.
The characters that they describe are the antithesis of the people that I've worked with. So it's not an accurate depiction of the human beings, but it's an accurate depiction of a story.
What's it about?
The story is fascinating. It's basically how Caesars went private, then public, then private, whatever. And Apollo, the group that David's about to tell us all about, who recruited him, are portrayed in a not the greatest light as the people that did it, I guess is what you would say.
Yeah. Darth Vader, Death Star, all that stuff, that kind of stuff.
But it's a fascinating history of Caesar.
Yeah, it's interesting stuff. I mean, like I said, if you're here in town or you're in the banking industry, you're in the gaming industry, working in it, then I think it's a great read or a great listen. Other than that, you're going to fall asleep.
Well, some people were writing to me on Twitter that they liked that I suggested books, and I told them to read Blood Aces by Benny Binion.
Mm-hmm.
That's another one. So anyway, that's why I thought it was very good you brought up that book, because that's another one that I recently read.
Do a book club.
Nah, it's a little boring.
Podcast I'm not much of a reader.
Audiobooks.
I do audiobooks, but I'm not much of a reader.
So at GCA, after that, you get recruited, and it's David Samba?
Yeah, Apollo, and they had bought this company called AGS, and they were a little small company doing like 27 million in EBITDA, and I was like, that doesn't sound interesting.
Right.
But I will say that Darth Vader is a good salesman. David Samba convinced me that it was the right move, that they're going to put capital behind it, that they're going to do interesting things, and he convinced me that he would trust me, which is a funny thing. Like, how do you do that? Like, don't worry, I'm going to trust you. I don't know you yet, but I'm going to trust you. So that was interesting, and so we bought a bunch of companies, but the biggest acquisition was Cadillac Jack, and also known as CJ, and we did that around 2015 and a half, maybe mid 15, towards the end of 15, and that they were about the same size. So we, when you put the companies together, it's probably actually about 60 million EBITDA, and then of course synergized it was 72, and then we peaked out. I think our highest EBITDA before COVID was about 145, 146.
Oh, wow. And that was when it was public. It's public.
Yeah, still public today.
It was public when David recruited you?
Nope, we were private. We took it public afterwards. Yep.
Any for people that don't know the difference, like any differences you would say between running a public company and a private company, besides the fact that you got to talk to investors on a call once a quarter?
Yeah, I mean, it's all high-speed stuff. You know the deal. You're running something, and you have a couple more bosses along the way, because now you have shareholders.
Mm-hmm.
You have Wall Street, and so you're just adding a couple elements. I like to say, like, when you're CEO, you're working for the employees, you're working for the executive team, you're working for the board, and then you're also working for shareholders, and you also are accountable to Wall Street analysts as well. I'm probably missing somebody in there, but when we're public, you're adding in those new elements. If you're private, you have a fraction of those. They're both fun. Yeah. Love them both.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay.
Fun stuff.
Very fun stuff.
And then
she's like, get this back on the
No. It's very interesting. So then you moved to Shuffle Master?
So that was a long time ago. So Shuffle, you just looped back. Jonathan had brought us all the way through my entire career.
Where'd you jump? You went back?
No, we can go back. And Shuffle was interesting. Very small company. It was, I want to say when I got there, it was around 20 million in EBITDA-ish.
Okay.
I'm 48 now, so I have bad memory. But it was probably 20 million-ish in EBITDA. And I think after I left and they sold shortly thereafter, they were somewhere in the 90s in EBITDA, I want to say. That might be about right. They sold to Bally. Bally sold to Sci Games, all that fun stuff. But that was the place where I really got to learn a lot. It was hyper growth. They let me do everything. Foolishly, they let me do everything.
Was that predominantly table games?
Table games and shufflers.
Yeah.
And then towards the end, we got into the slot and electronic table game, e-table business.
Okay.
But like I said, I was,
Are you more passionate about slots or tables? Or do you?
I mean, I'm sort of indifferent. I've learned to become a lover of slot machines. Obviously, for most of my career, it was shufflers and table games.
Right.
And it's a fantastic industry. And I'll say that, like, it took me forever to learn slots. I'm a slow learner, right? And so for me to understand slots, it took a lot of effort from a guy named Peter Wilkins, who still works for Sci Games, and of course the CTO of AGS, which is Sigmund Lee, and they've taught me 99.99% of everything I know about slots.
Do you gamble?
Occasionally.
Slots, tables, sports.
So sports.
You don't want to talk about that online.
No. So I do a little bit of sports. I don't go crazy.
I hope you don't bet the Yankees.
I have a family and a job. I'd like to hold on to them, but no, I do occasionally bet the Yankees, but a little bit of sports, very little on the slot front, unless I'm really doing quote unquote research.
Uh-huh.
I definitely love mechanical reels. I don't know. I'm fascinated by them.
Okay.
Yeah. So I love playing them.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Mechanical reels.
I was at Circa next door to you here.
Yeah.
And I was roughing up aristocrat machines down there with the boys a couple months ago. It was fun. I love mechanical reels though. They're fun. It's just a very volatile experience.
Right.
So there's no restrictions on you playing on slots in Nevada?
Oh, there is. You'll have to cut that out.
Okay.
No, I'm joking. No, there's no restrictions. I mean, the only
you can play your own ones. You can play rake and bake.
You can play your own?
You can play your own slots. The only exception would be is if I come into the plaza and Jonathan said, I don't want you playing your machines here.
Right.
That would be the only exception in the state of Nevada.
Do people say that to you?
No.
Why would I say that?
One. Yeah.
I've
never had that one.
No. But I don't know if you...
Well, around the country, though, to be clear, I cannot go into Missouri and go just gamble. It's not a thing, right? You just can't go do that. As a vendor, you just can't go into certain states and gamble. I think Arizona might be another one. I try not to break these guidelines.
But if there was a big progressive, could you play it? Yeah.
Like IGTs?
No, on an AGS.
Here in your, if it was in Nevada,
you can play on it. Yeah,
I mean, it's not the smartest thing in the world to do, but yeah, I could play it. Technically, could play it.
Right. And you don't do the WAP stuff.
They're random. Right. I don't know anything more than the next cat playing them.
Right.
So
there is an RNG.
Yeah, we don't do WAPs, but if we had one, theoretically I could play a progressive, but probably not the smartest thing in the world.
So speaking of playing, how involved are you in sort of what makes a game work?
Oh my God, I'm the guy.
You are?
I'm the alpha and omega of game development.
This is what our listeners want to hear.
Yeah, Sigmund.
This is what our listeners want.
The bad news. I don't know anything about that shit. This is horrible. This podcast just went south. I don't know. I know nothing
about what makes games.
No, I mean nothing. So I can tell you that when we develop a game and it's sitting in R&D or in the showroom, generally speaking, I don't want to say it's me, but most people can play the games in the company and say, oh, that game feels good.
It's a feeling.
Oh, yeah, it's just a feeling. So I'll go back to mechanical reels. And the games I play is actually a guy that works for us now. And love the games. And these mech reel games, I feel like you feel you feel them right in your gut. Everything's like right in your chest sort of thing. You just feel it. You feel that it's a fun game, or you feel that you're like, I just want to go home and take a nap kind of thing, right? Yeah. So when you're playing a game, whether it's video, or mechanical reels, I feel like you just feel it the whole time. And it's more pronounced in mechanical reels, and that's why I like it. But obviously, videos is just as good for many people. And, I don't know anything about developing a game. I mean, I have great ideas, none of which will ever be listened to because they're horrible.
But when you walk through G2E, can you tell the difference between the different manufacturers and what they're doing, or does it all just look like the same thing?
No,
one's got a curved screen, one's got a little light board behind it. Is there a dramatic? Firstly, just talking aesthetics. Can you tell the difference?
So I've been in the business now like 23, 24-ish years, right? And so it was just in the last year that I could tell the difference. I mean, it took forever.
What are the differences?
So like we'd have to walk through the casino. You can see differences in quality, lighting, shape, materials that are used, positioning of the screen, ergonomics, all this different stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting. I'm horrible on slots in many ways, but when we were acquiring Cadillac Jack, we were doing our diligence, and I can talk about this stuff, I'm pretty sure. We were doing diligence, and right towards the end, when the deal was just about to be signed, the head of development down there, he opens up a closet. It's like a closet. It's not even an office, it's a closet. And he's like, hey, no pictures while we're in here. And I'm like, fine, no pictures. And so we walk in, and the Orion portrait was in there. It had never seen the light of day for anyone except the folks that worked at Cadillac Jack. And I saw that, and I sat down in front of it. And ergonomically, and presentation and lighting, you have it in your casino, so you know. Yeah. But it was, in its time when it was released, there was nothing really like it. And I was like, ooh, this is amazing. We definitely need to buy this company, right?
Okay.
And so I knew enough, and you could feel enough when you sat in front of that machine that it was that great. And the good news is the head of development that brought me in, he sort of shut the door. He got a phone call, and he left the room, and he's like, don't forget no pictures. And so, of course, while he was out, I took a picture, and I sent it to my boss. And
said, we got to get this company.
Yeah, we got to get this company. This it's time. It's go time. So you learn along the way. Nobody's a genius.
You must have a department though that specializes in gameplay and the next version of that.
You got hardware guys,
yeah.
You got software guys, right. You got math folks. I mean, probably the most fascinating people are the mathematicians.
Right.
That if players knew the math grind that went into these games, they'd play them more often because they'd feel so bad for those mathematicians.
Trying to figure it out.
No, the work is the amount of work is ridiculous.
Right.
And it'd be fun for you just to sit down and talk to a mathematician for a slot machine, because in the first 30 seconds you'd be like, never mind. You'll be like, never mind. This makes no sense to me. And they're really just phenomenal and incredibly smart people. And it's like, what am I going to be? I'll do slot machine math. Nuclear science is fine, but you know what? Rocket propulsion is cool, but I'm going to do slot machine math instead.
Is there anyone in the industry, and you don't have to say, although that I think you would, that you admire or you look up to in terms of their product their games. Like when I walk through, honestly, I can't tell that big of the play mechanics different, but it seems like everyone's doing that rapid bonusing now, where you get in there and then you got to get 3 spins and you get the third one. If you hit something, it keeps coming back. Like, is there anyone that you see doing something that's interesting or different besides for AGS?
Yeah. So like, listen, I think everybody's pretty cool at what they do. I mean, not to be cheesy, but obviously the king of the hill right now is Aristocrat, and it's been that way for a while. I'm sure that
they got Buffalo, Data Storm, Lightning Link.
They have so many, franchise titles that it just goes to show what their commitment, to the craft is.
Right.
And I think it's something that is admirable, and the guy that was over there, that was the architect of that, was fantastic, and so I have a lot of respect for people that do those things. And obviously, as far as individual game developers or mathematicians or anything like that, honestly, when we see the ones that we like, we try to hire them. So,
right.
There's plenty of them out there, but of course, when I say plenty, it's an extremely scarce resource. Those folks that are rock stars.
It's a lady at Aristocrat now, isn't it? I don't know. I think there's a new lady that's created like the 3 latest great hits. I might be wrong on that.
That could be wrong, but I do know. I actually do know that one of the developers down at Inside Games in Australia, she is a lady. She's quite a lady, and I just call her Yoda because that's how smart she is.
Okay.
And I mean, I'm telling you, like, this stuff, it's boring for podcasts, but everything that goes into it and their acute understanding of everything that goes on in the game, and they can look at the competitive game like a lightning link and say, this is the magic that they created, and break it down for you in such a way that you're just leaning forward and listening and saying, oh my God. And I had no idea why I liked that game until right now.
Wow.
Because I'm feeling it, and so, anyways,
it's a feeling.
Yep.
So then why the partnership with Golden Knights? How does that help a slot machine? So you guys have the roulette wheel with Golden Knights that we are proud owners of, and we just ordered. I think it's not yet here, but we just ordered a Golden Knights Big Red.
Yeah. Right. Yep.
It's called Big Red, right?
Yeah, the Big Red, yeah.
We put a Golden Knights cabinet on there. Why does that help the partnership, or is that just something you do for community support?
I think it's just supporting. It's supporting the scene. I mean, it's just being a part of the community.
And you wanted tickets to the ice hockey.
Yeah, unfortunately, those tickets don't go to me. They just go to the company, so my wife buys 2 tickets on her dime.
Okay.
And, we go that route. Yep.
Does AGS have a lot of licensed games?
We have no, outside of that little tiny partnership with VGK.
Okay.
We don't do licensed games. There will be a day, I'm sure, but we've been pretty steadfast in saying we're not going to do a licensed game until we've met a certain growth trajectory, and we understand that we almost have to. We almost have to go that route. But when you have a monkey pirate,
right?
Who needs?
When you can create a pig that expands as money goes in and then bursts when the jackpot hits. And
who needs
bacon?
Britney or J-Lo or Elvis when you have a monkey pirate?
Right.
Everybody likes monkeys, and most people like pirates. So that tells you that most people will like monkey pirates.
If you put it together, it's a winner.
I love it when I walk by Raking Bacon and I see that fat pig, and it's going to explode any minute.
Yeah, so I will say, though, you asked the question about people and companies and stuff. So that's the Cold War in gaming right now. It's an arms race for employees that are in R&D. It is the equivalent of the Russian-U.S. Cold War. It's
hiring that skilled person that can
aggressive and I'm just gonna say it. It's aggressive. It's cutthroat. It's sneaky. It's everything. It's it's corporate espionage-ish. Write a little tiny book about it that's 20 pages.
So how do you build and maintain a strong corporate culture?
Oh, damn. Well, that's interesting. So I was trying to lead the horse to water there a little bit, but so the only way we were able to get any good employees was corporate culture. Trying to compete when AGS did $24 million in EBITDA, how do you compete with, and I got this question from like the Fantinis of the world.
Right.
You know, Frank, very serious.
Yeah.
How are you going to compete?
How are you going to compete,
How
David?
are you going to compete? I have no idea, Frank. Don't ask that question on the air. Like he's recording that conversation and making notes while he's doing it. So culture, I mean, you have to go with corporate culture and, you know, trying to get people to join the organization when you're like, yeah, we have nothing here but good people. And you try to start with good people. You make the same commitment that, you know, Apollo, AGS is going to invest in the company and make it into something. But you want it to be a place that's very genuine and authentic. And so that's really the goal. You know, authenticity. I just did a panel.
At G2E, right?
Nope.
Nope.
I don't know what I did at G2E other than talk to
You did Frank. You did Frank.
Oh, I did Frank. But
yeah.
So Sam Manuel just did a panel discussion on building corporate culture. We just did it the day before yesterday or yesterday. I don't remember.
Okay.
All these days just blend together. And you know, we talked a lot about building a corporate culture, and one of the things that, you know, I really focused on, whether you're interviewing, you know, advice for employees interviewing for jobs, is be authentic, right? And don't try to be. I can't go in an interview and try to be Jonathan Jossel. It's not going to work.
Could try.
Yeah, I mean, I could try, but I might end up looking really foolish, right? I'm not, you know, as when I interviewed for the GCA job, you know, the advice I got from a recruiter was, you went to UNLV, be a UNLV graduate, be David Lopez. Don't try to be a Harvard graduate, which is good because I wouldn't have known how to do that. But it was interesting because it came up. It comes up in the interview, and you remember what this guy says. It's like the light bulb goes off, and, you know, if you had a video podcast here like Landon and Mike, you'd put a light bulb over my head, superimposed, right? But it was, hey, tell us about your management style. So I'm sitting there with 4 board members, right? And they say, tell us about your management style. And, you know, as I said the other day, I said, you know, Bryce Harper would call that a clown question. And I said, that's a bullshit question. And that's exactly how I said in the interview. I assume I can say that here, right?
Of course. Welcome.
Yeah, this is not a G-rated show, right? So I said, this is a bullshit question. And it was interesting because one of the very high-ranking board members that came from a private equity fund looked at the chairman and goes, that's a bullshit question, Miles. How do you feel about that? and they said, can you explain why it is such? And I said, well, come on, man. That's like, I could give you some answer out of a textbook or some Harvard Business Review article that I never read, right? But the reality is you got to tell me a little bit about yourself.
Right.
There's 4 of you in here. If you tell me a little bit about yourself, one at a time, I'll tell you exactly what my management style is going to be. But if I treat you all the same, good luck. I'm going to probably retain 1 of 4 over time.
That's a great point.
Maybe 1 of 4 will be
good answer.
Happy. Yeah, I mean, it ended up being a good answer.
That's
now,
a great answer.
You know, now guess what? I could also be on this podcast and not be a CEO and say, this is how I lost my chance to be a CEO. I called a question bullshit question.
It seemed to work for you.
Yeah, so it worked. So you got to be yourself.
Hold on, before you have the next question. What kind of pizza do you want? Cheese, pepperoni, whole one, half and half? I want it to be ready for you so that you get it.
Thank you. So let's go with just cheese, and you know the deal for the little 13-year-old. Super light sauce.
Super light on the tomato sauce.
Yeah, on the tomatoes. See, I tried to be Jonathan. That didn't work
And
out.
do you want another drink? Because you have Chelsea over there. Chelsea.
Yeah.
Chelsea's famous now.
We should really go with the brown bottle, though. The brown one.
Oh, he went cheap on you?
1942.
Chelsea, could we have a shot of Reposado? Chelsea's famous, by the way. She's very famous on Twitter. Everybody comes in to see her.
Really?
What would you like? A shot of Reposado?
Yeah.
1942?
Neat, please. Yep.
Okay, and then cheese light on the sauce. Gotcha.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, continue, Lisa.
This is the best podcast. When you get 1942 and you get a cheese pizza for your kid.
From Papa Pizza, which is where we also had lunch at once upon a time.
100%.
And we discussed, actually, I think what we're going to talk about now, which is millennials.
Ooh, millennials. What are we going to do there?
Well, before the pandemic, I felt like everyone was really focused on how are we going to get millennials back to play slots. Like, kids these days aren't playing slots. But now that has kind of faded away. It's not as big of an issue anymore. But
it just doesn't seem as topical, right?
As topical.
Like 3 years ago, all anyone talked about was, what are you going to do about millennials? They're the future. And now everyone's like, how are you going to survive the pandemic?
because that was a clown question at the time.
Oh, here we go.
It's another clown question.
Okay.
People get, it's amazing how the industry gets focused on something. And right now, I'll be honest, at the top, soup du jour today is what? What is the most talked about topic in gaming and gaming supply? Cashless.
Okay.
Cashless will happen.
I thought you were going to say that no one can get any parts off the boats.
Oh, there's that. Talk about supply
chain issues. That seems to be the...
But cashless is the number one topic. And so it's either going to happen or it's not, right? But you can't force it to happen. And ultimately, the person that it has to be convenient for cannot be a vendor, and it can't be Jonathan Jossel, and it can't be the plaza.
It's got to be the customer.
Yeah, it's going to be the customer. And if you have a wallet that works as efficiently as, I'm just going to, Apple Pay, right? Where you go up and you're like, doink, and, do your little thing. And these days you got to take your mask down. And they're like, oh, take your mask down to do that Apple Pay.
Right. But
it's got to be that. It's got to be that ubiquitous, and it has to be that convenient. And that's not what it is right now. And I love the guys at Sightline. Every's fantastic. We love Chelsea.
Chelsea's
thank
the
you.
best.
Thank you.
All that stuff.
But is there an issue? Isn't there a middle thing which you're maybe missing, which is it's got to be convenient for the customer. And I think if you look at consumer trends, people would much rather be cashless at this point. But isn't there an issue that gaming has to approve it? Aren't we all sort of stuck in that cycle of gaming hasn't approved cashless?
Gaming's down with it.
They are?
They woke up one day and said, we're okay with this. I remember when I started at GCA, and then when I started AGS, I sat at the gaming control board, and this was a topic. And Kirk Sanford and Omer, they really were pushing this topic, very aggressively. And Nevada Gaming and others were like, well, we can't do that. That's dangerous.
Right.
It's so dangerous. And I'll admit that speed bumps are, a speed bump in the casino is, I ran out of cash, I ran out of chips. I have to get my ass off the stool from the table game or the slot. I got to walk over to the ATM. I must reach in my pocket, stare at my ATM card. I'm going to go through the whole thing here, so take a nap. I'm going to put the card in. I'm going to put my PIN in, and I'm going to enter an amount that I want to take out. And what the Gaming Control Board and other regulatory enterprises said, oh, you know what? How do we duplicate that speed bump? And so in some jurisdictions they have speed bumps. Other jurisdictions the speed bumps are really small, right? But I think that you're right. People want to be cashless, but there's places in Europe where cashless outside of casinos is a big thing, but uptake on cashless in the casino is not huge yet. I don't know what the reason for that is. It could be anything. Just imagine how did let's go back to any discussion. Do you sports bet? Do you play slots? Do you play table games? You play roulette?
Right.
And if everyone had to answer that on a podcast, some people might lie.
Right.
They might lie. So why do they lie? They might lie not because they're a problem gamer, but it'll be a problem with their wife or husband. If they're like, wait, I didn't know you played blackjack. And you sounded like you play for pretty big stakes. It's a form of entertainment, but it's not always something people want to have running across their credit card or their debit card or an e-wallet every time they do something. So will it happen? It'll happen, right?
You think cash just does ultimately take over? Because once it takes over, it's going to take over entirely. You'll have some, I don't say this rudely, but some older people that are just not adopting it, right? Which is, frankly, what happens today. You don't get certain demographics paying with Apple Pay and Bitcoin. But there's people that once it adopts, it is going to become mainstream in the sense of it won't just be 5% or 10%. It's going to be 60, 70% of the business.
When you walk around town and you do cashless outside of a casino, how do you do cashless?
Credit card.
Credit card. And that's not what it is right now. You know that because y'all run a casino. So I think it'll get there. I think it gets there. It's not going to happen. I don't think it happens like Tito. We went to sleep one day.
Right.
You sort of went home for the weekend. You had a couple tequilas. You had a pizza.
Yeah.
And you woke up pizza.
And you woke up and the coins were gone.
Yeah, you ate too much pizza. NFL football was on. You woke up at the end of the day, and you went to work on Monday, and everybody had Tito.
Well, you know what though? It's like everything. I was just in the arts district today having lunch, and someone was like, "I can't believe how busy this is." And it's like, this is an overnight success, and it really is never that quick. It just takes time, and then you look at it one day and like, oh wow. But right now, downtown, I think there's one casino left with coin games. So Tito's 99%, 99.999%.
I didn't know there was a casino down here.
I think El Cortez. That
was going to be my guess.
We had coin until last year. It just became too difficult. Main Street got rid of their coin maybe a few months ago. So I think it's just El Cortez at this point.
So I mean, the industry is not technology rich.
Yeah.
It is not the tip of the spear when it comes to technology. And I'll hook you up with someone from Sightline to have the conversation.
We ran into them at G2E and we're going to meet with them.
You saw Omer?
I don't know who it is. I can tell you.
Yeah, get Omer in here. Yeah. He's the interesting guy.
Oh.
Him and Joe Papano. Okay. So I'll give you their numbers. They're fun guys.
Okay.
Joe is the suit.
Yeah.
Omer's the scarf.
Okay.
Don't edit that out.
No, we will not. We will leave that. What about YouTubers? What do you do? What do you see that happening? Is that considered technology in future? And you didn't answer the question on millennials, but we'll get back to that in a second. What about YouTubers? Oh, and Oscars is now fully open and guests are walking in.
I asked. I answered the millennial question.
It's a
clown
question.
Yeah. Here's the deal. I think that if you look at it, I don't want to ask ages.
Okay.
You're 32.
Wow.
Okay, I'm making it up.
A little older, but
yes.
I'm younger than what you guessed.
Yeah, right. Okay. So 29.
31.
You're 29 years old, and she's never going to play a slot machine ever until the day she plays a slot machine. Until the day you play a slot machine. And everybody acts like it's never going to happen, right? I never played slots, ever. I played table games.
Did you take this from me? This is my answer.
No,
now you're using it. We shared this thought a few months, maybe a year or two ago.
We probably had the conversation, but because I'm old, I forgot. But no, all kidding aside, like you first thing you do when you're from New York, you sports bet. Then you sit around and you smoke cigars like you're an adult when you're 15 years old, and you play poker at home. I'm talking about home.
Yeah.
Right. So you're doing friendly bets on sports with friends, and then you're doing poker around a table with cigars, right? You're trying to act like an adult, right? You play a little bit of blackjack, which makes no sense at home, right? And then when you're old enough, what do? Oh yeah, I'm gonna go place a bet in the sports book, right? And so you do that. That's what you do because that's what you're comfortable with and that's what you're familiar with. And then what do? I'm gonna go play some blackjack. And then after a while, you say, hey, I'll play some 3-card poker or whatever. But you're playing the stuff that you think is cool, right? You're playing the stuff that you think is cool. And then one day you just find yourself
on a slot machine.
Yeah, you just, I don't know.
playing bingo at the plaza.
It was like...
You know what it's called? It's called the evolution of your tastes.
No, it could be pizza. It could be a beer. It could be anything. But one day... You're literally sitting in a chair and you're like, why am I pressing this button? This makes no sense.
Slot machines.
But I like your answer about
that's what happens. It's like
cashless.
You fall in love with it a little bit like anything else in the casino because it's just fun and it's cool entertainment, right? God bless you.
I like your answer about like using Apple Pay at a slot machine. I think that'll be a game changer. That's just more convenient for...
It's the game changer.
Well, but it is also problem gambling. It's the reason why a lot of casinos lobby against online gambling and say it's too easy, it's too dangerous. You can blow your whole bank account in a machine, whereas you can't do that there. But it seems like this restaurant is really getting busy. We have a lot of people.
We'll have to have you back.
But no, I do want you to. Are you guys paying attention to the YouTubers? Is that a thing on your radar? Do you care about the YouTubers? And by YouTubers, I mean the people that film themselves playing slots and then promote themes.
So I'm going to answer a question, the question in a second. So we're paying attention to them, but I'll get to that in a second. So I suggest actually you bring in, I'll help you broker this deal.
Okay.
You're going to bring in Sightline and Every for a podcast. and do it at the same time.
All about cashless.
Mind you, there's a lawsuit going on between them. So it's going to take some convincing from you and I.
Okay.
But it should be all about cashless, no arguing on their part, but here's what cashless will be about in the end. Is it efficient enough, like Apple Pay, that the velocity of gaming is not slowed down? Now, when I say velocity, I don't mean an inappropriate velocity of gaming. I mean the normal pace of gaming cannot come to a screeching halt because I move from the plaza where I have cashless, and then I want to go next door to Circa, and I go, oh, wait, it's hard for me to get my Plaza cash from my Plaza wallet to my Circa wallet.
And then you got to be on Aristocrat versus Konami versus IGT, the different systems and the wallets. I see what you're saying.
So when you bring in every Insight line, Lisa and I are going to do the interview.
I love it.
Let me ask the questions. This is a fascinating conversation.
Will you help us moderate this?
No, I'll do it. It'll be fun. I know all those guys. They're all good people. By the way, it doesn't matter, competitors, lawsuits, all that stuff. One thing about gaming I'll tell you about October 1 and COVID and everything. This is one community. I don't give a shit like how you shake it down after that.
Yeah.
You know, you could be arch rivals with somebody, not want to be anywhere near them at times, but when shit goes down,
it's a good community.
By the way, you know it's interesting? I talk about company culture. You can measure the success or sort of like the effectiveness of a culture when there's crisis. So forget about a company, an industry called gaming proved that it had a great overall culture between people because how it behaved in the crisis.
Agreed, 100%.
It pulled together. No bullshit.
I want to end on that note, but we're not going to because I just want to hear your thought on YouTubers.
YouTubers are great. Like you got Brian Christopher and those cats you're talking about.
Yeah.
This is what MaxBet is getting into the business of. They're aggregating sort of these YouTubers and trying to get them onto one platform, whereas sometimes on YouTube they're trying to kick them off. So, man,
I heard that Taylor Swift is your favorite musician.
Yeah, you're right.
Why don't you have a Taylor Swift slot machine? And can I help broker that deal?
Now, it's a little bit of... I have a Motley Crue shirt on today.
Yeah. You normally wear a Taylor Swift T-shirt?
I normally wear a Taylor Swift T-shirt. If you buy me one, I'll wear it.
Is she the best concert you've ever been to?
No. What? I mean, I want to say yes because it was very good. And, she's so sassy. But no, actually the best concert, I'll just give it to you.
Yeah.
And I love Ozzy, and I love Black Sabbath, and I love Motley Crue. But the best concert I ever went to was at a place called the Palladium here in town. It was a warehouse. Doesn't even exist anymore. I'm sure it's been mowed down. And it was Alanis Morissette.
Ooh.
And she played before about 200 people. And she was this close.
Wow.
For those not watching at home, hearing.
5 feet.
She's about 4 feet away, yeah. About 4 feet away. And she was phenomenal.
That's exciting.
You're the best, David.
Yep.
Your pizza's ready.
Hey, man, I'm the moderator on that one.
Do it.
All right, cool.
Thank you for joining us. You can stay up to date with David on Instagram at DaveItLopez. That's DAV_IT_LOPEZ. Thank you for joining us on the corner of Main Street.
Thanks for having me. By the way, 2 posts a year.
We'll be back again soon. But in the meantime, please rate, review, and subscribe. Tell your friends about On the Corner of Main Street. And of course, follow us on social. On Twitter and Instagram, it's @PlazaPod. And on Facebook, find us at Plaza Podcast. Or go right to the top and tweet Jonathan at Jonathan Jossel. We'll see you next time from right here on the corner of Main Street.